Hello awesome people. In this video, we'll tackle the scenario where no journal entries are available. Instead of leaving the user staring at an empty screen, we'll add a helpful message to guide them to create new entries. So let's make the app more user-friendly together. Instead of building a no data view from scratch, we can confidently use the ContentUnavailableView provided by SwiftUI. It's a convenient and native solution from Apple that not only communicates the absence of data, but also enhances the user experience by maintaining the feel of a native app. So in order to display this no data present view, let's go to our home view. Under the main content, we have the scroll view with the cells inside, and in here we can add an overlay modifier to the scroll view. So overlay brackets. And for the content, we need to place that empty view that we just talked about. So let's create it, empty state view. And under this main content, let's create another private var. We have a typo here, copy this, paste it here. Some view. And for now, let's just add a text here, empty view. Everything should work just fine. Now coming back to this modifier overlay, I just wanted to shortly explain what it does. In essence, in SwiftUI, the overlay modifier lets you place a view on top of another. Think of it as a layering content. Your main view stays in the background and the overlay is displayed above it. In this scenario, it's really useful because if we have no data present, we won't deal with this content inside, but instead just add another layer over it. And it works like a glove. So now let's build this empty state view, delete this text, and type the following: ContentUnavailableView, brackets, we have a description, brackets, and we have some actions, brackets again. For the labeled, the first set of brackets, we can type label, no journal entries yet, and we can also use system image for this label called document. Let's apply our foreground style that we have in our app. So foreground style app color theme dot secondary text color. For the description, we can use a text and just type you don't have any saved entries yet. And again, the foreground style should be the same as above. And for the actions, let's type a button, create entry, create a new entry here. The button style should be of type bordered. There you go. And for the action, you just need to show that bottom sheet that we also trigger when the user presses this add button. So we have a state variable above. We can just say show sheet dot toggle. And just look at that. It's so awesome and neat. With just a few lines of code, we've added a beautiful font, styled the image, and brought everything together seamlessly. Now there's still a bit of work left to do for us. We need kind of a logic to determine when we show this no data present view or we hide it. So in this overlay here, we need a condition, right? If no data present, show this, otherwise do nothing, right? Because the cells will deal with showing the data that is already present in the database. So let's go to our home view model. Let's create a function. Let's call it check if data is present, right? It will return a boolean. We should just return journal entries that is empty. And because of the naming that we chose, we should add a not in front. So if this is not empty, that means that data is present, right? So make sure to add a not in front of this condition. So now we can take this function and use it in our home view. View model dot check if data is present. And again, because we named it this way, we should add a not in front. So if data is not present, then we should show this view, right? Now, if we go back to our home view model and remove this commented line, because we had to comment it in order to test the empty journal entry scenario. So now just undo everything here. And if we go back to our home view, we should see our entries. There you go. But now we have a little problem. If we go to this view and go back to the live view, you can see that for a fraction of seconds, you have that no data present view present. Until the so-called backend fetch happens, we have that view present. That is not really nice for the user to see that, because we actually have data in our local DB, but it takes time to fetch that data. We can fix that by introducing another spinner, a spinner that will be in the center of the screen, besides the spinner that we already have in the top bar. So for that, let's create a new variable, state private var, show loading spinner of type bool is false as the default value. And let's make a new logic here. if show loading spinner, do something else. Now if we reproduce that scenario again, we still have this no data present view. I wonder what might trigger this. Yeah, so the reason we still have this view present is because this show loading spinner is false by default. So we need to make it true. When we do that, is in this task modifier. This happens the first time the user enters this screen. So we need to trigger that spinner. So show loading spinner equal true. And after the journal entries are fetched, we should make this false. Let's go back to the live view. See that text, and then all the entries are fetched. Instead of having this text, we should have a loading spinner. And for that, as always, let's create a private variable right here. Private var loading spinner view of type SumView. Let's use the progress view with the text of loading. Let's set the style, a different style than the default one. So progress view style dot circular. Let's add some padding. Let's make the control size large. Let's give it a tint of app color theme dot accent color. Foreground style of app color theme dot white color. And let's make it bold. Last but not least. Now copy this name, place it right here. Let's check it out again. We have a nice and neat spinner view. Now to make sure that everything works perfectly, let's again simulate that we have no data present in our DB. So let's go back to our home view model, comment this line. Let's go back to our home view. We should have a spinner and then the no data present view. Awesome, we did a great job so far. We could also add 3 dots here. It looks better. Let's undo that comment right here. And that's it. A quick and simple way to make our app more user-friendly for various scenarios it might encounter. With this view, we now have a mini guide that helps first-time users navigate and understand the app effortlessly. Until next video, happy scribbling!